Welcome back, casual collectors. I'm Steel Wolf,
And Spider Kid.
and today we're bringing you a review of the Marvel Legends series, Marvel Studios, Doctor Strange, Eye of Agamotto.
So we picked up this ancient relic at Walmart for the price of $49.99, and it's still available on Walmart.com. It is up for pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store and Best Buy. It is currently sold out in major retailers, including Amazon.
Now, keep in mind, guys, we did actually pre-order this guy with GameStop, but however, their shipments were delayed and they still haven't fulfilled that pre-order. So we were just kind of browsing around and we found it at the Walmart.com. So we just picked it up there. And still at the local GameStop, they haven't got them in. So just be aware that it's got to be due to all the COVID, and the whole shipping delays with all that. So just, stay vigilant and keep looking and keep looking. I'm sure you guys will find it. Well, enough with the numbers. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of these box details.
Okay, so for box detail, we can see is that on the front it has Doctor Strange, the Eye of Agamotto, and the bottom it is the Infinity Saga and Legend series on the top. And I like how it shows us a nice picture close up of the ancient relic itself. And I also like how behind it, it's like this like Target kind of look. It reminds you of Hawkeye a little bit. That main look of it. It also requires 2 AAA batteries. Now going on to the side, we can see the eye itself and the display base, with also someone looking like they're taking it out or putting it back in. And if we look at the back here, we can see that it shows the eye itself, the stone, and showing the pendant moving so you can take the stone out just like in the movie. Now going on to the side, we can see an example of how to remove the stone and also showing how small the stone is. Now if we look at the top, we can see the name Doctor Strange, Legend series, the eye itself, and the eye name. And on the bottom we can see the back of the eye and a lot of illegal stuff. Now to be honest, I'm not really good with magic, but I want to see what this time stone does. So with all that said, let's get the eye out and see what type of magic we can do.
Now, before we check out the eye, here's the other things that come with the eye itself. So here we have the little instruction booklet that comes with the eye. And let's open this guy up and see what they tell us in here. And as you can see, there's basic instructions on how to put together the base. It gives you also instructions on how to place the gem inside, how to pull the gem out, and how to activate the whole mechanism to open the gem, and how to pull apart the little ports for the lanyard. So other than this here, it also shows how to put the batteries on here. Then you're going to need 2 AA's, and they go in the back. This whole flap here pulls open, and you put those in, and we'll demonstrate that in just a little bit here. Now, other than the instruction booklet here, there's also the standard caution warnings here, for the batteries and all that. And then we also have the Hasbro phone numbers and also consumer affair phone numbers, and as well as the Hasbro address for whatever concerns you may have. Now, other than the instructions, here are the other items that come with the eye itself. And if you see here, this is all that you get for the base. Now, as you can see back there, it should be very simple just to pop this guy onto this base here. So basically, you just got to match up the grooves here with the pegs right there in the middle. And as you can see, there's one large one and one really thin one, just like you see here. Once you line those guys up, you push down, and these little tabs there, it should lock in place. And there you have it. Alright, and here we have the Eye of Agamotto with the stand completely built and the eye itself on the stand. And holy cow, it looks amazing. Just the amount of detail on this guy just looks great. I'm telling you, they did such a great job of making the plastic seem like real bronze. I mean, this thing just gives off that whole metallic vibe, and it would fool a lot of people up until the point where you get up and close, and then start grabbing it and all that. Then you're going to obviously feel that it's not metal, but it's more of a plastic. But just sitting right there on the stand and rotating, it looks absolutely amazing. With that said, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the eye itself, the gem, and the base. Let's go ahead and start off with the base here. Now, getting a closer look, we can see that they use this kind of a bronze goldish color to it. It's either a gold and maybe just with the black wash, there for aging or whatnot, but it's got this metallic look to it. And all these little details that you see in here, this is all sculpted in. So it's not just painted, it's actual sculpt, and you can feel it all when you're touching this thing. It's all rigid. You can see all the grooves, feel the grooves. It's all there. I mean, just take a look at that. We got like some weathering right here. That looks great. Here it is on the inside here. Kind of makes it look weathered. You know, definitely shows that they've been putting it on this stand and taking it off. You know, you can even see down here on this little plate itself, this is all sculpted as well. This is really cool. Some more of that weathering look there. Down here, we have some more sculpt down there. I mean, just looking at this thing looks amazing. And it looks pretty good on the camera here, but I'll tell you this though, in person, it just looks way better. Yeah, that looks great. Here's the bottom, so this is where you can tell this is all just plastic, but you know, you're never going to be looking down here anyway, so that's okay. But other than that, though, they did a good job of keeping the aesthetic on this whole piece right here. This looks great. Now, aside from this stand here that you have to build, the other thing that comes with the Eye of Agamotto itself is the time stone here. And as you can see, it's got some really good detail as well. It's definitely translucent material, and you can see the inner workings, but they did that for a reason, and that's because once you plug this guy into the eye itself and then you remove it, there is an LED in here that will light up once you remove this stone. Here is a view from the side. Here is the back, and as you can see, that's where they mix the connection with the battery to give it that power it needs to light up. But this looks really cool. Okay, next we have the eye itself, and taking a closer look here in the center, I mean, this came out looking really nice, this little ball peg here, or what looks like a ball peg. I mean, these little lines in there, those are sculpted in. That's awesome. And then we got this different kind of silver paint right here for this symbol there. And then I believe this is more of a bronze kind of color too, this little one here. But there's also some black wash that was put on this thing for weathering, and it came out looking fantastic. This is sculpted in these lines here. That looks great. All this looks really good. I mean, even in the back there, you can see back here, there's all this sculpt back there. That looks great. Let's turn it around here. And see, this is where it kind of breaks that whole aesthetic of it, or the illusion of it, and kind of makes it seem like it's more of a toy or more of a replica. You know, definitely the screws are what will give it away in this big old button here. But at least you still get some sculpt on the back here. On the top, you can see there's this piece here, and this is a button, which we'll demonstrate later. There's the edge here. There's the bottom. This looks like the same thing on top, but this part down here, this is not a button. The top one is. But as you can see, the button doesn't look like it's out of place because you got one down here. So it just looks like it's part of the eye itself. Looking very nice there. And now we have the necklace part. So this is kind of like a rough material. It almost feels leathery on this section here, but then these little black pieces feel more like a cloth or a felt. But it's definitely a nice material. We got a little bit of the cloth here, but now it's a goldish color, and it pattern follows through all the way to the necklace. And now up here we have how it clasps together, which is a basic simple push in kind of thing that just pegs inside. And that's what we have for the necklace piece there. All right, so with all that out of the way, let's demonstrate how to get these batteries in. So as you can see, you have two screws right here, and we're just going to get a regular small little Phillips and unscrew these. Now that we got it unscrewed, let's go ahead and remove this plate here. And there we go. We have our two AAA batteries here. Let's go ahead and install these. Make sure they're nice and snug. And now all we got to do is just put this cover back on and get it screwed on. Okay, with the batteries installed, let's take a look into the functionality of the eye, how it opens and how it closes, and also how the time stone comes out of the eye. Okay, so with your batteries in place and everything ready to go, all you have to do to open this thing up or to activate it is actually just push this button on top right here. And here we go. And wow, that is so cool. Every time I see that, it just looks so cool. It is a little bit kind of glitchy in the first couple seconds. As you saw, it kind of seemed like it wanted to go, but then it didn't. But that doesn't always happen. I know it's kind of give or take. Sometimes it kind of does that. Sometimes it doesn't. I feel that if you just kind of like push the button really quick and let it go really quickly, you won't see that. But if you hold on to the button just a little bit longer, then you're going to kind of get that glitchy kind of look to where it kind of goes and goes back and then goes. But I mean, after opening the eye, you're going to see right away that the gem actually glows, which is an amazing touch. Whether you display this guy, on the stand with the eye opened or closed, it's gonna look amazing. Unfortunately though, in order to get the eye to close, you have to kind of turn this here and you have to wind it counterclockwise. Now, it kind of works like those wind-up toys that you would kind of just wind it, you turn it counterclockwise, and then once it's primed, you let it go, and then it continues to what it's supposed to do, which here, it's going to be to open. That's kind of how this is, which is kind of unfortunate because when they first announced this and they showed us the video, I honestly almost thought that basically to wind it back up, you would just push this button a second time, and it would automatically just kind of close on its own. But unfortunately, like I said, that's not the case. You have to wind this guy up. So how does that look and how does that work? Well, let's go ahead and show you here. So basically, you grab it from right here, and you're going to turn it to the right here, just like that. And you're going to see that it's closing, and you're going to hear a click, and that tells you that it's primed. Now it's all ready to go. So now, when you want to open it again, you just tap the button again. And there it is. And again, to get it back to the same spot, you're going to have to basically wind it up again. So you're going to have to wind it up every single time. So again, unfortunate, but you know what though? The fact that we got the eye that actually has an opening function that opens on its own, glows, and can have the gem removed for a price point of $50, I think it's hell of cool. Especially considering that some of the other Marvel Legend props have been easily $100 and up. Cool, so now let's go ahead and show you guys how the gem pops out of the eye itself. So again, earlier, you guys saw that there was a button back here. So basically, to get the gem to pop out, all you do is push in on this button and the gem is going to pop out. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that now. I'm going to push into the button there. And as you can see, it popped out. Now let me go ahead and get the gem out. This is what it looks like when the gem is not in place. So definitely those three prongs there, that kind of loses the aesthetic. But you know what though? Those three prongs need to be there in order to transfer power to the gem so that it can glow or light up. And here we have the gem. And that looks hella cool. Now, mind you, we still have all our lighting on and it is daytime right now. So even for it being so much light in here, it shines or lights up pretty bright. So you're going to definitely see this guy at night. It'll definitely stick out. Now, as you can see, there is kind of a groove right up here. Now, this was done purposely here, so you can only put the gem back into the eye a certain way. It won't go any other way. So it definitely has to line up with these grooves there. On the back of the gem, I showed you guys earlier, here are the three connectors that those prongs have to connect to in order to give power or to charge whatever's in here to allow it to light up. But I mean, this thing is awesome. It's about the size of a nickel or a dime. No, I would say more of a dime, but it is really, really cool. Definitely a super awesome little accessory. So now here's taking a closer look at the inside. As you can see, look, this is the groove that you have to kind of line up the gem with. So it's this end here, and it kind of has to just sit right there. So when you're ready to pop this guy back in, you just place them in there, and then you're just going to push down on it until you hear the click. Now, if you're wondering if you can close this, with the gem not being in there, absolutely. But all you have to do is now just wind it the way you did earlier. There you go. It's primed. It's ready to go. It's closed, and I have the gem in the other hand here. So you can display this there, display the gem next to it, either way, or however you wish. But either way, it's going to look cool. Now, if you open this guy up again, to put the eye back in, let's go ahead and show you that. Again, we have to make sure that we line it up, and it's lined up right there. And we're just going to place it inside, make sure that it's flat. And you're going to feel a little bit of a resistance, almost like if you're hitting a spring or something. But just push it in. And once you hear that click, you're good to go. Now it's in there. And again, to pop that gem back out, just got to push in on this button. Just be careful though, because the button does feel a little bit tough or a little bit hard to push. And when you do push it in, it kind of does pop this guy out. And if you're not careful, it will fall out. So I kind of always like to just do this in my hand or kind of just put my hand underneath to make sure I receive it. I definitely don't want to drop this. It doesn't feel like it's cheap or like it's going to break, but I don't want to risk it. I think this is such a cool accessory that I don't want to risk, ruining any of it. There you have it. All right. So with all that said and done, let's go ahead and show you guys what this looks like on a kid and then on an adult. And also, we'll dim the light so you guys can get a better look at how it looks in the dark. Okay, so Spider Kid's going to demonstrate on how to put on the eye, just so you guys can get an idea of how big the actual lanyard is and how easily it goes over his head. So as you can see, he didn't even have to unclasp the clasp there. It just easily went over his head. And it hangs, as you can see, it a little bit below his chest there. And there you go. So now let's go ahead and see how bright this looks with the lights off. And there you go. We are in complete darkness. And man, that thing is bright. It almost looks like the Green Lantern ring a little bit here on the camera. So how does it feel on your neck? Does it feel heavy?
Not really.
Okay, how does the material feel?
It's uncomfortable, but I can get used to it.
Great. So let's see what this looks like on an adult. I'll go ahead and demonstrate here in just a second. All right, so this is what it looks like on an adult. Again, I didn't even have to undo the clasp on the back just to wear it. And for me, it also sits a little bit below my chest here. That's what it looks like. It doesn't feel heavy. I just don't like the feel of the material, and it just feels too rough. I wish it was more of a softer, material, but it is what it is. And here it is. I mean, it feels nice. It looks nice. It doesn't look too big on my hands. You can always just push the button and kind of do a little thing that Doctor Strange does or whatnot. And then just to wind it back up so that you can prime it again. There it is. Boom, done. Push it again. Pop the gem out. And here we have the gem. It's that time again for our rating. And I'm going to go ahead and give this guy a rating of... Epic! Now the reason why I'm giving this guy an epic is I love everything about it. I do love the fact that it came with the stand. The fact that the gem can pop out and it's an additional accessory for itself. I really like those things of it. I like the way the wash came out, making it look weathered. However, the epic rating had to go down to epic only because I just really didn't like the fact that we had to manually wind the eye to go back to its original state and then push the button for it to open. That's fine, the button is fine, but the fact that we have to manually rewind it, I just didn't like that. I mean, granted, it's a small package, it's really well priced, so I do understand, but that just kind of left an itch with me that I did not like. The other reason why it went down to an epic, it's because of the lanyard that they use for the necklace. I didn't like the material they use, only because it's a very stiff material, and as you can see, it kind of holds its shape. And for a necklace, I don't really want that. I wanted something more softer, still sturdy enough and strong enough to hold it up. It's not heavy at all, but I'm just saying, a little bit more sturdier, just not to the point where it's going to hold its shape even after you put it down, because it just looks very awkward the way it is right now, that it's kind of just floating there. I would have preferred it to be heavy enough, or at least for the rope itself to be soft enough to be able to just kind of dangle or drag or lay on the ground the way it should, not this kind of awkward floating thing that it has here. And I will say this, the material on your skin does feel a little odd. Definitely you're gonna notice that it's there. So for those two reasons are why I'm giving it an epic.
I'm gonna give this guy a rating of
great.
I give it this rating because it's cool. I like the way it looks. The colors really pop out. But it just feels too big. Because I get it, you need to fit all the things in a pretty small place. I get it. But it just seems like a little too much, to me at least, it looks a little big. And when putting it on, it does feel like a little heavy. But I do like how all you gotta do is press a button and it works. I like how the stone can come out, and I like how even when you take out the stone, it still lights up. And with the material for the lanyard, I like it, but it just gets pretty uncomfortable trying to walk around with it.
And that's going to do it for our review on the Marvel Legends prop replica, Eye of Agamotto from the Doctor Strange films. I'm Steel Wolf.
And Spider Kid.
Continue collecting, and remember, stay casual.